Welcome to the Board of Health hearing. Today is December 19th. Christmas is coming up. Before I open up the meeting, I would like to ask Sharon to do the roll call for the quorum purpose.
Okay, so I know John Norman isn't able to make it, as well as Dr. Waller. So we have Tom Lee.
Present.
Dr. Guadagnoli, Dr. Canna.
Yeah.
And Dan Leskow hopes to be here a little later.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have the quorum. And we have staff too, Tom McKeon and Sharon with us. This meeting of the Board of Health is being recorded and broadcast on the town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make your presence known. Seeing none. The first item on the agenda is the proposed regulation policy. This is for the deadline to connect the buildings to the public sewer. Last meeting, we have some comments from DPW and Kelly, as well as Mark Melms, in terms of the policy. Dan, any more comment do you want to make? And Kelly?
No, sir, no additional comments today.
Thank you. Any comment from the board member?
Not me.
No?
No comments by email or by telephone received at our office.
Thank you, Tom.
I would like to add one word under D2. Can we add the word "of" between the word time and being? So it's period of time. I'm sorry, between period and time. Should be period of time to make the sentence, so the sentence will make sense at the very bottom of page 1.
Yes. With that minor change, could I have a motion to approve the policy? Or in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Or approved? Thank you.
The policy has been approved and ready for distribution to the public as official. Thank you.
And then we have a variance request. This is a continuance from November 28th. Mark Dips from Cape and Island Engineering, representing Jeffrey Domro and Maria Epps owner, 55 Papaneset Road, contoured mapped parcel 035-002, 33,541 square foot parcel in saltwater estuary protection zone, proposing using the microfast 0.5 IA septic system and requesting a variance from saltwater estuary protection regulations to allow 4-bedroom in lieu of the 3. We'll supply the floor plan. Hi, Mark.
Good afternoon. Again, Mark Dibb with Cape and Islands Engineering. So we did provide full-size copies of the floor plans, and we believe that particularly the second floor levels clearly show the appropriate number of bedrooms in order to have a project that consists of 4 bedrooms for the entire lot, being 3 in the main house and 1 at the upper level of the proposed garage. And as we had presented previously, we are seeking a variance. The lot is at 35,313 square feet, where it requires 40,000 square feet for the 4th bedroom. But we would like to provide an IA system in order to what we believe would be even enhanced treatment above, or at least to reduce nitrogen to levels below what a standard 3-bedroom system would be. So we feel by being granted this variance, the client would be happy to install an IA system for the property that otherwise would not be required, and that the project could be a benefit to the environment and this property. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mark. Any public comment on these applications? None? Staff?
The only question I have, the applicant submitted nitrogen loading calculations in compliance with Cape Cod Commission Formula Technical Bulletin 91-001 using a microfast system, so it just falls below the threshold of 5 at the downgrading property line for nitrogen loading, which is good. But Section 2 of the regulation says a variance may be granted if enforcement thereof would do manifest injustice. And this, my understanding is this is an addition to a house, so I question where is the manifest injustice, so maybe the applicant knows the answer to that.
Do you want to address that comment first?
So the existing dwelling on the property is, it's chopped up into, there's actually multiple, almost apartment-like areas in the dwelling. And just based on the new owner's needs for the property, they would like to tear down this house that it's both in poor condition and just is not suitable for their family. So, I mean, other than just seeking an added benefit of the extra bedroom while they're taking on this expense of rebuilding this house, you know, that is the only primary reason as a potential hardship for, you know, granting the variance. Is just, you know, today's economical cost to redevelop this house, and they can't both rebuild this house and put an IA system in for a 3-bedroom. You know, they'd like the benefit of the 4th bedroom in order to offset the cost of both the IA and the construction of the house.
Thank you, Mark. No, I think in terms of the building, tear down and rebuild, your cost is going to be much higher than what you anticipated right now, especially with the COVID and the inflation rate so high. I've seen the numbers come up pretty high.
I thought there was a mention of a additional house or unit called an ADU unit on the property too. Is that what's proposed now?
Technically, the room above the garage does not have a kitchen. It would not meet the definition of an ADU. There is intent, the basement or the first floor master bedroom area is intended for elderly family members. But per definition, I don't believe that it's just some living space on the second floor of the garage. It does not have it doesn't function as an apartment because there's no kitchen.
I was reading an email from the health inspector to you dated November 21st that mentioned ADU. That's why I asked that question. It talked about a bedroom and a loft. It mentioned ADU, so I thought it was an additional unit.
Wouldn't that loft be considered a bedroom?
Yeah, yes, but
So
you can
that's
explain
two.
that. That plan was changed again since then. It's not a loft anymore.
3, 1 on the first floor and 2 on the second floor. Well, that's 5.
There's 1 on the first floor of the house, there's 2 on the second floor of the house, and then there's 1 bedroom on the second floor of the garage.
And the loft.
Well, that's a room at the top of the stairs with absolutely no means of privacy. You'll see there's almost a 7-foot opening with the railing, and you have to pass through that room to get to the
That
bedroom.
wouldn't be considered a bedroom, Tom?
If there's no privacy, it's not counted as a bedroom.
Okay.
So they're going to have a 7-foot opening, you said?
Yeah, between the opening and the open
Plan's so
railing.
small, you can't see it.
Yeah.
We're getting on trying to read this again out by 11, and it's tough.
Yeah, but I think you should have full size in your packets now.
I know.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
any other question from the board member? So one thing I just want to mention, I look at the plan today, and I look at your calculations. Seems to be in order because you're doing it according to the Cape Cod Commission nitrogen loading count bulletin. The only question, not even a question, it's just a comment, because you did it under the Title V flow, and then you're trying to do it as an actual flow. And then you blend the two to get your nitrogen loading. So my comment is, under Title V flow, that's normally our Title V as the normal loading rate. But that loading rate is a max day loading rate. And I know that typically we don't get the max load in terms of the wastewater, and usually less than that. And that's why it's fine in terms of the calculations why. I kind of accept that scenario, because I know that you're not gonna see it that much Title V flow. So I'm good with it. I'm good with the calculation stuff.
Thank you.
So, could I have a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve with the variance requested.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is the innovation and alternative septic variance, continue from November the 28th. Dan Ojala, Down Cape Engineering, representing Chef LLC, Chef J LLC owner, Virginia Restaurante, 4631 Farmers Road, Contuit, maps /parcel 024-157, 46,460 square foot parcel in stage 1, proposing to locate the leaching field in the Septitech alternative septic system on separate lots controlled by the same owner. Zone 2,
No, Frank.
permitted for 100 seats,
Want you to have
requesting
this
115 seats, and a
From Catherine.
variance from using a recirculated sand filter, or alternative, variance from the saltwater estuary protection regulations. Hi, Dan.
Good afternoon, members of the, Chairman, members of the board. Dan Ojala from Down Cape Engineering. Here for Chef Jay, who is the longtime operator and new, relatively new owner of the property here at the Villaggio Restaurant. This is at 4631 Falmouth Road in Cotuit. We're looking at a fairly complex permitting history on this property, and I know Tom has recently reviewed a little bit more of that. But the only real question I have for you folks today, I outlined in this very short, one-paragraph letter, and that is, we could, if we would like to, put this system under the parking lot on the primary lot, which is Lot 2, which is a 460 square foot lot. What Chef Jay would be willing to do, if you'd be so kind, is to give us just a little bit more design flow, is put the system here, combining the two lots together. So as well as the 460 lot, would be looking at the 720 square foot lot. Now, when we were here last month, the only thing I noticed is that when I did the calculation for the extra flow, I used 440 rule. I should have used a 330 rule. And so instead of 115 seats, we'd be looking for 111 seats or thereabouts all in. But what this letter says, I think it's just important just to get it clear in our heads, is that the request is for an increase in design flow of 385 gallons per day over the existing permitted flow. And exactly what that number is, we can discuss, and we're open to suggestions. But 11 restaurant seats at 35 would be the 385. And the reason for the request is that we're going to be utilizing a currently vacant piece of land which could otherwise be used for residential housing. And it would be restricted if, of course, we put a great big septic system on it to no more flow, because it would be commingling the two lots, it'd be considered one facility, and it wouldn't be allowed to have any increase in flow. The land alone could support a septic flow using the most restrictive flow of 330 gallons per day per 43,560, not the 40,000, which is how you oftentimes do the 440 rule, and that's 400 gallons per day. So you can see at 385, we're a little bit under that 400. And again, the owner, Chef Jay, is willing to utilize this vacant land adjacent to his restaurant for septic purposes if he can increase his seating by, the equivalent of 11 seats. And we'd note, to kind of sweeten the pot and, to think about, is that we're going to be putting in an expensive recirculating sand filter system. And so that would be utilized for those 11 seats. or the 385 gallons per day, versus if you were to sell this off to somebody that wanted to put a small duplex or maybe a big home on it, you know, they probably, because they're be at 330 gallons per day per acre, wouldn't need to put in an IA. So I just point that out, that you're getting the IA as part of this. And it's keeping a small business owner in town in business. He'll be allowed to, you know, utilize a reasonable number of seats. It's a fine dining restaurant. Don't forget, big picture, we're talking about nitrogen flow, and this place is only putting out about 800 gallons a day, actual flow, and the Title V flows are very conservative, and we are treating it, so we'll be no more than 25 parts per million out of the pipe, which is a benefit, I think, certainly over what's there now. Now, so that would be the request, and it doesn't really matter to me exactly how many seats we're permitted for now. I think we'd be happy enough with the design flow of the 4 pits that's there. As we had mentioned before, Peter Sullivan, who was with Baxter and I for many years, had written a letter, and the 4 leach pits is 3256 gallons per day. There was some discussion and relative to not long after this letter was written, there was a special permit that went out that said they could do 116 seats, but it was a mixture of the seats and the bar room seats. This was talking about 116 full restaurant seats. That was never permitted. What was permitted was a mixture of 70-something full-service seats and 46 or so tavern seating. And I don't ever look up if the 78 code had tavern seats, but certainly it has since the 90s, where you have 20 gallons per day per tavern seat. So in other words, if you have seats at the bar, they're not considered as full service, and they might only use 20 gallons per day per seat for those, versus full dining, fine dining, you'd usually use 35 gallons per day per seat. And I don't want to muddy the water, but or at least first, if I could get the opinion of the board. I spoke with Catherine at some length on this, and you know, it's kind of a decision for this board to look at. If we can look holistically at this site, you've got the restaurant, which always had the special permit and the modification special permit to be on this one lot, and then this other one that is described separately with it. There's a very important rule that says, even though it's 2-acre zoning now, it says if there was a lot in 2000 which had adequate size and frontage to be a buildable lot, then it's forever a buildable lot as a residential, and this was exactly that. So you could tomorrow apply for a building permit on this lot over here for a 3-bedroom house or whatever you wanted to do, maybe a little accessory office in it or something like that. So it would be taking that off the table. So I think, you know, just holistically, big picture, it's a reasonable request. Yes, we're adding the amount of flow that could be put on there, but we are treating it to a high level. And eventually, as we all know, the sewer is coming through, which is a long-term solution. But that may be, you know, 15 years out, depending on the phasing. So in the interim, you'll have a nice, solid system that's knocking the effluent down while we wait for the sewer. And again, that special permit was recorded in 6385-282 and clearly says a 70-seat restaurant exclusive of the lounge, and the lounge, including that, has 116 persons. Now, that is remarkably similar to the 116.
That's not a Board of Health document you're referencing. I need the board to know that's not Board of Health information.
Correct, but it does state.
He's not telling you that. He's telling you that it's from another board that has nothing to
Yes.
do with this board. And the leaching pits were not put in, so you cannot go to 116 seats. The letter
Correct.
we have here is
Yes.
you need 5 leaching pits.
No one's
back in
asking for
1987.
that. Yeah, that's clear. But just in my defense here, it does say that the Board of Health and the licensing authority have all agreed to increase it to 116. Now, it could be a fib, but that's what's written. I don't know. But, so bottom line is, if we can use just the 4 pits at 3256 gallons per day, and then just get another 11 seats, I think we'll go away happy. If you'd like to, so that should be okay, right, Tom? Because that's based on the 4 pits, not the 5.
You're allowed 21 seats total for the 2 lots combined. Otherwise, go to DEP. That's my opinion, because you have 99,000 square feet. You're allowed 21 seats combined, maximum in the restaurant.
if you were to use both or the new construction, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're grandfathered for 93, not for 100. And grandfathered for 93 seats.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's just kind of common sense. So if we do the 93 on this lot here, on the east, I think we could do that, and that'd be fine, and then come in with a, 3 or 4 bedroom house over here. Well, what's the difference then if we add a few seats, I mean, it's as of right. I mean, doesn't that logic hold up? It would be, we've got whatever the grandfathered number is, and then if we could just get a little bit of additional for what's on here. I don't know. It seems to make sense to me. If the board doesn't agree, then we can certainly just put the system under the parking lot and keep the number of seats, which, if we all can agree on a number, would be happy to live with it.
Are you all set?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Any public comment on this one? Staff's comment?
Repeatedly, the staff has contacted the engineer to let him know that he needs to go to DEP for this type of request because it exceeds what's allowed. It's in all the nitrogen-sensitive zones, not just the salt water. It's in the GP. It's in the state zone 2. The flow exceeds what's allowed for this site. And you can see from the 1987 letter from the engineer that 93 seats are allowed. It's grandfathered for 93 seats.
Yeah, but again, it's as simple as the fact that that's on Lot 2, and always has been. And if we add another acre, why couldn't we just do a little bit more flow? But if the board doesn't agree with that logic, we're happy to just stay with our one lot. It's your call. And, I can see it both ways. If you look at it, well, you're putting a lot of flow on a vacant lot, and how can you possibly do that? Well, that is a point, and if that's the way you feel, that's fine. It just seemed to me that we would be okay to add a little bit of flow because we've got a vacant lot. But if you don't agree with that, we'll concede and just go back to our original lot and leave that one for future development.
Well, I guess my comment is, this board, can you legally grant a variance that the state does not allow in a Zone 2?
Right.
It's a state-designated zone. It's not a town-designated zone. It's not just a town ordinance, it's a state regulation. It's Title V.
So I print this map just to verify that this is under the water protection zone for drinking water. The only argument that I went through this morning is by default, you have 93 seats. That's a predated in terms of the saltwater estuary stuff. That's what you have.
Grandfathered.
In terms grandfather. In terms of whether you have one lot or two lot, that's not clear to me. In a sense, at that time, they were showing as a one lot under the assessors maps. They combined it. And now you kind of separate it. So to me, it's not clear whether you're separating as a new lot or whether it's the old lot that combining the two. So that is a question mark that in my mind, what area are we talking about in here in terms of the flow? When you're trying to say putting a new house on a separate lot, that would be under the saltwater estuary regulations and the water protection zone regulations.
Yeah.
This is different from your 93 default value in terms of the seats for the restaurant stuff.
No question. And again, that's why I went over that, but there is a zoning rule that says that the lots don't merge as long as it existed in 2000, which, I know you're not a zoning board, but, it is, and I put that on a stamp letter, that is a standalone building lot. Yes, for convenience, they have assessed them together for many years, but that and a dime will get you a cup of coffee. It doesn't make a difference. The most important thing is that they're statutorily two separate lots. They're described in the deed as two lots. And just because the assessors for convenience doesn't bother to separate them doesn't really mean anything. Now, in full disclosure, the former owner had put a gravel parking lot over there, and we just went to the zoning board and asked nicely if we could park over there, because we had a tiny bit of gravel that was already over there, and they were nice enough to give us a special permit so we can use that for gravel parking. And as a condition of that, which is why I'm bringing that up, they did say that any change of use would go back to that board. So to put our house there, we'll have to go back and get a modification. But it's a big lot. The gravel only takes up a little portion, and he may well decide to do that at some point. It's not for today's discussion. if that's the opinion, of this board, then I think would be fine. What I'd probably ask is just to continue it to the next meeting and let my client make a decision whether he'd like to proceed or not. The reason that we were here was Title V, if you read it, talks about land and adjacent land being owned by the same property as one facility, and the separations distances are to something outside the facility, but we technically, Tom has always interpreted that if we have something crossing the line there, we should come in for a variance. So we're still here for that. And I don't know what the best way to proceed is with that, Tom.
That was Brian Dudley. I know he's retired. If it crossed the proper line, it's a variance.
Just put a variance in there,
is.
yeah. And again, and one of the important reasons we don't want to merge the two would be that he has a small business loan against the property, and the banks consider this a separate building lot with a lot of value. And if we merged them, his mortgage would be in default, and he'd have to refinance at a much higher rate. So we can't
Dan,
do that.
A question, is the agenda correct? Are you asking not to put recirculating sand filter, or has that changed since? I'm confused
well,
on that.
So originally, we had requested that, but then I thought, well, let's see if we can get a few more seats, and then he's willing to do the RSF.
Okay.
I don't know. Do we have the authority to not do an RSF? Well, the other
That's-
thing is, so that's a question. And the other question is, I got fooled by the stage one. We're in stage one, when's the pipe coming in next week or 2 weeks? Well, it's 10 years out. So the wind
More than
kind
10
of
years.
fell out of my sails.
For
It may be
Contour, it's more than
15.
10 years. I know
Yeah,
that.
it may be 15 years. So I don't mean to speak for the board, but I don't think you'd have an appetite for giving a variance if it's 15 or 20 years out on an RSF. The RSF or equivalent technology knocks down the nitrogen, so I don't know, but.
I know. I designed one before, so I know
Yeah,
what it is.
we know this drill, so I don't, so that was in the original request. I kind of put that to the side and designed an IA, hoping that we could get those extra 11 seats. But if we're not heading in that direction, now that, again, the timing is such that I don't think that's a reasonable request, but would be
Well, if you are, don't you get 660 credit, or am I wrong?
over 2,000, well, it depends on how it's written. Each permit is unique. This one, I believe I saw on Septitech that you can request 550 per acre.
550, yeah.
If, even over 2,000. It used to be always that as soon as you went over 2,000, you lost that, but they snuck it back in on some of these permits, and I think this is one of them. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't have a horse in the race, but if you folks are uncomfortable with granting a few seats extra on Tom's advice that that's a full DP variance, then I think if I could just continue the matter for a month, well, and then if you probably accept just a release. I'd withdraw the request right now, but.
Oh, wait a minute, that was, my comment was based on the agenda, way it's typed now. But you're saying you will put a RSF in.
Yeah.
Well, then that changes
Then
the
change
answer, right?
yeah,
To 550.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're still way over, right?
Yeah, but the point is, your description on the agenda should reflect your application,
Yeah, that was,
okay? Because that
description
is
on-
critical in the sense that, I'm from Concom. So if your
Yeah.
job description is not equal to this advertisement,
yeah.
your problems. Okay?
Yeah.
You may want to withdraw it and then reapply with a proper language on the posting.
Yeah, we could certainly do that. Originally, when it was filed, we dropped the RSF. Before the meeting, we discovered that the stage one really meant stage, 2B. So I changed the plans without modifying that request. What was your question, Tom? I mean, I don't think we have an appetite to put the system on that other lot, and I think we could just withdraw all the relief that's requested if we're just going to put it on our lot.
Yeah.
But I hesitate to do that because it's so problematic to reapply.
I'm just speaking from the staff perspective. If you're
Yes.
not going to put an RSF, it's a DEP variance, what you're asking for, but I leave it up to the board that you would have to go to DEP if you're not going to put an RSF in for this type of request, but
Okay.
I'd
now
leave it up to the board
We've
if that-
conceded that particular point. And if, to the extent that it makes any difference, what I would say is that we would formally withdraw that aspect of the request. And we're going to put in an RSF or equivalent technology. Again, we had thought that there was only a short period of time to the sewer. So when we discovered that, a little bit of a head fake, we changed it to the RSF. But,
Any comment from the board member on this?
No, I mean, it is questionable, I guess, about the one or two lots, but
The other thing,
I
if you,
think
go
if
ahead.
the applicant wants to continue, I think we should grant that.
No, he wants to withdraw it because your language on the posting is different from what he's saying
Well,
in his
withdraw.
application.
Well,
That has to be done properly.
I would say, though, Tom, that if you're asking for less relief than is requested, I think you're pretty safe. If you're asking for more, it's a big problem. And we're asking for much less relief. It would only be to have a tank over the line.
Well, I mean, I want to be accurate rather than taking a chance whether am I right or not right. I don't want to play that game. The other things too, if you're coming back with this application, if you're withdrawing and coming back with these applications, I want to know what is the total nitrogen loading according to the Cape Cod Commission calculation on the lot. So that, because this is a drinking water protection zone.
Yes.
This is important, and we need to know those informations.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, being that there is some discussion, I guess I would request that we withdraw all the relief without prejudice, and we'll reapply if we need anything. I suspect that we'll just come back for a counter permit on an upgrade with an RSF or equivalent technology and not need any relief whatsoever. But thank you for your consideration anyway. You know, it was, I think, worth a try. And that'll leave Chef Jay's options on that other lot for another day.
Okay.
But thank you.
you can still come back with a new request.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't mean to prejudice us in any manner. So that would be appreciated if we could withdraw without prejudice the request.
Okay, thank you. So the applicant has withdrawn this without prejudice.
Thank you for your time. Or
Thank you.
Once you have the vote, was that a vote?
Huh?
That was a vote?
No, you don't need the vote. I mean, you're
Okay, that's
withdrawing.
withdrawn.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. We have two deadline extension. The first one is Pamela Doyle, trustee, 105 Annabelle Point Road, Centerville, maps parcel 240-041, requesting deadline extension to repair failed septic system as property is in phase 1 of the sewer connections schedule. Please come up. Do you want to say anything, or do you want to identify yourself? Oh, speak on the mic. Sit down, sit on mic. Make sure the light is on.
I'm Pamela Doyle.
Okay, thanks. Welcome.
Thank you.
Staff, have any comment on this?
I just want to mention, we have the 18-page inspection report. It says the system failed because it mentions a backup, not an overflow into the ground, but a backup in the system. On page 4, is checked off, yes, backup of sewage into facility or system component due to an overloaded or clogged SAS or cesspool. And then you can go to the page which talks about that in more detail. But it says on page 13 that the leaching facility was not located because of the backup in the distribution box and pipe between the tank and D-box. So if you go to page 12, the distribution box is underneath a tree. The distribution box was inspected with a camera, run down through the outlet side of the tank, and the pipe between the tank and distribution box shows signs of backup. The distribution box also shows signs of previous backup. I guess the only question that I would have to the homeowner is, has any sewage backed into your basement or at all?
No, we've never had a problem at all. Not at all. I'm getting ready to sell the house, so we had it inspected and had that disappointing report. But even my septic system cleaning person loves my septic system.
It says DPW informed us that they anticipate sewer will be available in late 2029, early 2030. So I add that information. So about 7 years.
7 years.
It keeps going up. Why places worse than that?
Yeah. But you don't experience a backup from your house and all that.
Never have had a problem, no backup, not even a smell. Water's always clear, the toilet bowl is always clear, easy to clean.
Okay.
Did you say you're selling the house?
We would like to, so we have to get things in order before we,
Oh,
Do all that
some
stuff.
things will be written up in a special way so the buyer knows
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
not to let it, well, if it backs up, now it's too late, but to get it pumped as often as possible to
Do
prevent
you
future
just
backup.
use that in the summer?
Excuse
The
me?
house, is the house used only in the summer?
No, we come down back and forth from
Oh,
Boston.
so it's not rented?
No,
No, she wants to sell it.
Yeah.
we're getting too
Problem
old
is,
for the bridge.
You know, there's a little pond across the street that's for years been polluted somehow. And then the lake is right beyond the pond. And I think if you use it, I think you should get it pumped.
We do.
I mean, if these people want to agree to, let you use it the way it is, I mean, every other month, the dates go up longer and longer, so.
No, in the past, I think the board has been allowing the homeowner to pump the systems because your sewer is coming in 6 or 7 years. Anytime it will come, and then we don't try to burden you with the additional cost of replacing it. But when the time comes, you need to pump the systems more frequently than what you think you need. But in some cases, if the leaching field or the cesspool is plugged, there's a certain DEP approved chemical that you can add and dissolve the black buildup in the cesspool to improve your leaching rate. Okay. So that you have to talk to the septic system guy, whether that is an option or not. Because I have my own experience with that sewage backup stuff, so I know.
Did you say this is a cesspool or is it a septic system?
Septic,
It is, there's no picture of it online.
Yeah, but the
There's
leaching,
no plans.
They
yeah, but the
couldn't-
leaching system
Yeah.
can be the cesspool too, not just the septic
Right,
tank.
but I mean, a septic tank and a leach field is.
Right. Yeah.
And it has
It's a
distribution,
problem.
it has a distribution box also. It mentions that the backup is in between the distribution box and septic tank.
Right, because you got too much solid on the line to
How
build.
big is the
lock it.
lot?
excuse me,
Does it say how big the lot is?
the lot?
It's a very small lot, I think. So if there was a leak, they'd probably have complaints from the neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah, but homeowner is saying that she does not experience any backup. So. Could I have a motion to approve this sewer extensions request? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna abstain,
It's 2-1. Thank you.
so you
you very
pass.
much.
Pump your system if you need necessary to avoid the problem. The second one is withdrawn, so I don't need to read that. The third one is the second one is Randy Byrne representing new owner Randy and Stephen DeAngelos, 103 Long Beach Road, Centerville, maps parcels 205-017, requesting deadline extensions to replace single cesspool as property is in phase 1 of the sewer connections schedule. Hi, Randy.
Hi, I'm Randy Byrne. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. Staff?
We have the 18-page septic system inspection report. And I believe let me just double check, but I believe the only reason it failed is because of the existence of the single cesspool. I don't see any other information in here. It says, okay, on page 14 at the bottom, the cesspool. At the time of this inspection, the main cesspool was full and the outdoor shower cesspool was dry, so I think you have two cesspools.
No, the other cesspool comes from I think an outdoor shower.
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it shows on the
Okay.
plan.
Oh, I see that, yes.
Yeah.
But one of them is full.
The main one is full. The one for the shower is not.
Well, it says that some portion of the SAS cesspool or privy is
Did we get,
below high groundwater elevation. So it's like pumping something against a tide.
So what happened right now with the cesspool, with the main cesspool is being full? Do you have any experience in terms of the backup stuff for your house?
My understanding, has been no backup, and its system works fine. But, you know, the plan was, they like to do some, they're not planning on tearing the house down, they're planning on kind of fixing the house over. So the reason we're here is we didn't want to, you know, we wanted to be able to, the homeowner would like to do the modifications, and obviously we need to pull a permit to do any modifications internally in the house. The system's fine, we just didn't want to go through the expense of, not be able to do the modifications because we're in a failed system, because we have a cesspool, I guess. So they're willing to continually pump the system on a regular basis to keep it, and so we're constantly looking at the system. And then, like I said, the plan is really just to kind of modify the house in kind, the way it is now, you know, replace the kitchen with a new kitchen, window replacements, things like that. We're not adding any flow or anything like that to the system at all.
So you're not increasing the bedroom counts?
No, not at all. Actually, I submitted some plans with the application. The plan right now, the current plan is to, we have kind of a few phases. The first phase would actually remove a bedroom, which is kind of unusual, to reduce the house from 4 to 3 bedrooms, because one of the bedrooms is supposed to become a bathroom area. And then, if we can get zoning approval, the intention was to add the bedroom back on top of the existing non-conforming garage structure. But that's kind of a road to toe in it by itself with the board, the zoning board and the building commissioner. So I think right now, the plan was to apply for a permit to do the initial modifications to the house, which includes removing the bedroom, and then at some point over the next several years, as if we are able to get zoning approval, come back and apply for a permit to build that space over the garage, and hopefully by then we're even closer to the installation of the new sewer, which I think that Long Beach is kind of in the earlier phase of one, but I know it's a constant discussion.
Yeah, we don't know what
We
the
don't know.
actual schedule is right now.
So
I have a schedule from DPW, about 4 years, construction will be complete.
4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have an
think-
email here that says the
yeah, but,
project.
you know, we've got some that were approved by this board that were up on Old Stage Road in Centerville that are supposed to be sewered in March, and it's probably 3 or 4 years before they're gonna get it. You know, the 2 places we approved. Are you the original owner?
No, I'm a contractor representing the new.
So this hasn't been sold?
It's being sold next week. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Next
so
week?
Well, I think the 3rd, I'm sorry, the 3rd of January is the closing date.
I just wanted to say, DPW sent us an email saying that construction will be between fiscal year 2027 and fiscal year 2028.
Okay.
So maybe 4, maybe 5 years.
Yeah, I would take the outside 5. Any other comment from the board member on this one?
How about bedroom count?
So like I said, right now it's 4 bedrooms.
Right.
We're planning on reducing it to 3 and then potentially
Go
putting
to 4,
back the
go
4th.
back up to 4 in the
If,
future years.
but again, the zoning to non-conforming garage, it's, who knows if we'll get that approval or not. Plus, we're in the, floodplain.
On the plan for the carriage house,
Yep,
it has a bedroom, a bathroom, and an office studio.
correct.
If you look at that plan, Tom, I think you'd say that that office studio is a bedroom. Page A3.
I have EX1, EX2, EX3.
It'd be I think it's probably A3.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
A3 is the proposed, though.
Correct.
Carriage house.
Yeah, it's the proposed.
Yes, I do see that separate private office
So
studio.
we're not approving this plan,
No,
No, you cannot. I think he needs a 5-foot opening there.
because that's another
I
bedroom.
don't- Yeah.
the only thing that we are considering whether to allow the extensions of using the cesspool before the sewer coming in.
Right, well, I
That's
guess
all
the
we-
question would be,
front of us.
using the cesspool and then I
Right.
guess allowing us to proceed with pulling permits. I mean, I think the buyer would be willing, because the whole carriage house portion is a whole kind of sub-project in
Correct.
reality to the existing. I think they'd be willing to agree to say that the carriage house, when and if we get through zoning and planning in that direction, we would have to come back and revisit our plans with the board, but at least allow us to keep and modify the existing structure as a single-family house with 4 bedrooms that more than likely will reduce to 3, like in the plan that we're presenting now.
Just like I mentioned before, I think if you have a problem with the cesspool stuff, you have to pump it. And in this case, if you have a cesspool problem, you can add the chemical from the DEP approved list and try to resolve your plugging problem on your cesspool.
Yeah, no, I suggested to them that they should pump it at least a couple times a year just to keep it,
Yeah.
because of what it is.
Right,
But
right.
as far as I understand, there's been no issues with the current system.
Okay.
In the inspection, it says that a portion of it's got a cesspool, is below the high groundwater level elevation.
That means it's contributing to the pollution, to the water
To the water.
out there. If you approve this, can you make a condition that it has to be pumped?
Twice.
Is it, you
Or
think
as
it's
often
still
as
gonna be
necessary.
seasonal use?
I would assume so, yeah, based on the client, I know
They're-
that's why they're
they're
not here
putting-
today, they're away.
Well, building almost a new house.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much, like I said, we're removing the existing bedroom 4, making that a bathroom. The second floor pretty much stays the way it is, other than we're gonna try to add a bathroom up on the
We're not
second floor.
approving plans, right?
No,
So
we're not approving
we-
plans.
that-
We're just
Plans
approving the
change as
extension
soon as-
request, and then if we can put a condition, the pump as necessary to any backup stuff
Right.
for your house.
So as we present, my next step would be to finish the plan for the house, not including the carriage house, and submit to the Board of Health
Right.
for approval. Will the staff be able to approve it at that time, or do we have to come back and discuss this plan again, showing the bedroom reduction?
That's Tom's question,
Is it-
process-wise.
Are you saying additional bedrooms?
No, we're removing a bedroom.
Oh,
But we would be applying for a permit soon after the new year.
To reduce the flow?
To redo the kitchen and reduce the flow and
Right.
to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
Once we get through ZBA, we haven't even started that
Yeah.
process, ZBA and conservation, so that's gonna be
Right,
a
right.
while.
Right.
Yeah, if it's a reduction, and if we get a letter from the Board of Health saying that it's approved, if they approve it, then we can share that with the staff when they review your plans for your
Right.
renovation project.
Thank you.
I think we should approve it with Tom's suggestion that they be asked to pump it once
Yeah.
a month in the summer or something.
Or as necessary, because depending on what the condition is. So, could I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right, thank you
Good luck.
very much. Thank you, sir.
Tom, could you clarify
All
that
right,
for
have a
me?
nice holidays, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you.
Clarify the condition again?
So,
So he has to pump as necessary on the conditions.
oh, okay,
To
not a
prevent-
set amount
To
of beers.
prevent overflow or
Correct.
backup,
Right.
as necessary, daily if necessary, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's like
Because
we do all
we
the
don't know
time.
how frequent that would be.
Yeah.
That's why I hate to put down,
No.
monthly or what, because we don't
We'll
know.
be there. yeah.
Weekly.
Yeah? Here we have two hearings for the show cause tobacco. The first one is N. Darwin, owner, C.B. Perkins Cigarette Lounge and Bar, 649 Main Street, Hyannis, map and parcels 308-134. Tobacco violations on November 28, 2023, second violation in last 3 years, from October 8, 2021 to November 21, 2023. Board determined October 8, 21 as warning. Bob? Or
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, on November 28th of 2023 at 4:57 p.m., a subject was able to enter C.B. Perkins Cigar Lounge and Bar and purchase a vaping device called Lost Mary and leave without using it on site. We had been receiving several complaints from other retailers who were hearing from customers of not only C.B. Perkins, but their own customers, and then they frequent all different places, that they were able to do this. So we decided to see if this indeed was possible, and in fact it is. This is in direct conflict and opposition to the Board of Health's directive that was issued back in 2021 that the products that were purchased there were supposed to be at least partially used during the time of the purchase on site. And this is not happening. We also know that the typical what they typically do is when somebody purchases something is they just tear it open a little bit to make it appear that they've used it, and then the customer is able to leave. But that didn't even happen in this situation. So, again, it's a flavored product, but as a cigar bar, they are legally allowed to sell that, and they're the only place around. And so that's what's also troubling to the other retailers in town as well, to repeat what we had shared last time about this particular establishment.
Thank you, Bob. Do you have anything to add?
Just that the state law prohibits the sale of these products unless they are used for on-site consumption. It appears in this case as if this establishment is acting like a retailer of tobacco products. You can just go in, buy it, and take it out,
And the
which
fine
puts
is-
the other retailers in a difficult situation because they cannot sell flavored products. This establishment can, but only for on-site consumption.
And I know this is a repeated complaint, not just one time, but the fine for today would be the minimum 1,000 for this? Is that what it is, or is it higher?
Well, it's a second offense, so it
Second
would,
offense?
yeah.
This is a second offense.
$2,000.
And again, no, the reason that we checked on them is because we were receiving persistent complaints from other retailers that this was happening.
Thank you. Dave?
Through the board, can I ask a couple of questions?
Sure.
Could you describe the gentleman or the woman who came in?
The person who was the customer?
You're the one who worked for you.
Yeah, 32-year-old adult male.
Did he have
Dark hair.
did he have like a mohawk?
No. He doesn't have a mohawk.
He was, and it was at the exact same time that you talked about? Mm-hmm. Did he have a different type of haircut, or?
No, he has long, dark, not even long, actually short, dark hair.
What was he wearing, do you know?
I don't know.
Were you there that day?
I was.
Okay. Priya, can you pull the video up? Is that the individual right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
You can freeze it for a second, Priya. So that is the guy that, and you were there that day?
I was outside.
And where did you park, or where were you?
To the side of the building, in the parking
The
lot.
parking lot of the building next door?
Yeah.
Okay. And according to your report, it says that he, well, let me ask you this. What were your instructions to him?
Just go in, try to purchase a product that you can, a vaping product, and see if you can leave without being asked to consume it on site, or even having them ask you to open it. And neither was required of him.
Did you ask him in any way to try to avoid being seen or try to trick the owner?
No, absolutely not. That's never part of the protocol.
Okay, and you'd agree with me that that would be inappropriate, right?
Absolutely.
Did you know, and on the form, and you indicated that he paid by credit card, is that true?
Yes.
And you told him to tell the truth at all times?
Yep.
Okay. And did you tell him to try to buy more than one product?
No.
Did you tell him to try to hang out and watch TV and pretend he was there?
No.
Okay. And you'd be opposed to that, correct?
Correct. And he was out within a couple of minutes.
And has he worked there before you before?
Yes. Yeah, a few weeks before that.
And what's his name?
We don't, divulge the names of our help.
Okay. Well, we'll get there. Priya, can you show the first video, please? And I want to be very, very careful of this, because I'm making allegations of fraud here. Not on your behalf, sir, on this gentleman's behalf. I want to be very, but can you stop it? I want to be very clear of that. I'm not making any accusations against either of these two folks here. Okay, I want to show you the video. This is when he comes in. If you see the video right there, on the form it says he did not show an ID. It's frozen right in the form in the spot where the gentleman is showing his ID to the owner, okay? And it's right on the form that no ID was requested. Maybe it wasn't, he walked in with the intent, maybe it wasn't requested. If you see the video, he walks in immediately and shows an ID to my client. And see again, here he is walking in, pulls out his wallet, shows the ID, okay? And continue on, Priya, please. He sits there. Here, my client is telling him that the flavored products are out back. And he walks back, and another camera will pick up. You can see my client walking with him. Mr. Dwan. And we want to switch, I believe, to video number 10. And this is the back room. And you can see my client in the corner. Here he comes. He stands there, watches them because he knows there's flavored products here, not just because he's worried about people, stealing, which is a concern, but it's also a flavored product. He had already picked out one. No, he picks out one here. I'm sorry. Looks around. And then, I think he does have a mohawk, and I think that's a mohawk.
Yeah, well, it's something similar to it. Yeah.
little wide. Grabs a flavored product. And I want to show you my client's conscientiousness. He now goes over here where there are non-flavored and flavored products. He goes to reach for a second flavored product, which would be inappropriate. My client tells him no, because he shouldn't buy it, because they have to be smoked on the premises. So he tells him no, and he puts it back. Okay? Now we want to spin around. Go to the next camera, Priya. Yes, 7. Okay, here, and this is the most critical, and the next one as well. This is continuing on where he came in earlier. He shows the camera. I'm going to fast forward because it's just going to show an empty room for about a minute. Okay, probably right about there. Okay, why don't you back it up a tiny bit? Okay, perfect. Now start it. Here he is. My client comes, gives him some room. He tells him already, my client will testify, that he told him he needs to smoke it on the premises. Here he comes, and he indicated he paid by credit card, which is wrong. As you can see, there are dollar bills in his hands. He hands the bills to my client. My client hands him back the change. This is the critical component right here. He's sitting there watching television, distracting, chatting with my client about the game. There's a football game on. We have another TV that can show you that. Also, see his hands? They're behind the screen of the computer. And I want you to watch. He takes his wallet out. He sits there and fumbles and bumbles, almost like he takes the pack. Then he puts his wallet in. He grabs the pack. He puts it in his pocket. He pulls out a second vapes. So it looks like, rather than fumble his wallet, it looked like he was fumbling with the box, and then blows out smoke. Says goodbye because he opened it and had it there. If you bring the next camera, it's much clearer from a different angle from behind. And that would be camera number 9, Priya. Here he is coming in, showing his ID from a different angle. He leaves. And then if you would fast forward that, Priya, until he comes back. Okay, here we go. My client walks in, waits, because he has to open and smoke the product. He's sitting there watching the football game. Gentleman hands the cash. My client goes. Now he starts fumbling, watching the game, saying he's like hanging out, takes the cash. Hanging out, no hurry. It's the wallet, as I indicated. Now watch his hands. Am I trying to sit there? See his hands? Looking like he's opening it. Puts the wallet away. Reaches in for the second vape. Takes a hit. Watch the smoke. Watch it come out of his mouth, right there. That's what my client saw. My client saw someone, this is an absolute, on behalf of this special person that was hired, this is abuse of police power. Quite frankly, I think my client, I spoke to a civil rights lawyer, has a 1983 action if they chose to pursue one. He's doing business. He does everything right in this situation. He sees the ID. He follows him back so he doesn't take a product. He actually instructs him, no, you cannot buy a second product. And then thirdly, he sits there, he takes the cash, then with his hand, he does, as my hands are, behind the computer, fumbles with the wallet, so my client understandably thinks he's opening the pack, chats, watches the game, does a fast, 3-card Monty type situation, takes a hit, chats, exhales the smoke, and then says, I got to get out of here, leaves. And I have a video of him in the back, I don't have to show it, of him meeting with the gentleman here. And again, this is not directed at him. I have absolutely no evidence, nor do I actually have any belief that this was intended on behalf of the two folks here. But this turned out to be a sting That's an absolute civil rights violation. Quite frankly, I think it's criminal, what has happened here. And I think that my client deserves an apology. They have done everything right. I occasionally go out and very rarely smoke cigars, and I get them there. Every single time I go in that place, they are following the rules. They put this expensive camera system in just because of what you had in place. My client and his daughter go through and they have protocols. They do everything the right way because of this. And I suggest to you, this is abhorrent, potentially criminal, and certainly a civil rights violation by this gentleman with or without a mohawk. It's horrific. And I actually may be filing some type of ethics complaint, again, on this individual with the Commonwealth. It's wrong.
Thank you, Dave. Any comment from the board member?
Why can't they buy a second?
My client doesn't think they're supposed to. He thinks they're supposed to smoke it on premises, so he only
Is that
sells them
the
one.
law? You
I'm not
can't-
sure. That's how we interpret your rule. We interpreted,
Think the guy had the second one in his pocket?
he had to
already?
have that in his pocket. It was, if you look at it, it was already unopened. There's not enough time. You saw the camera, you can see the timing on the camera.
He didn't take it in the store.
No, he brought it in with him. This was a setup.
Don?
I think it is shameful that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has put the citizens of Massachusetts in a position where they feel as though they have to put cameras up in order to document evidence of what they're doing because of the degree to which this has become a police state. I think we need to, I think it's no surprise that I think that we overregulate far too many things. We cause this Commonwealth to be far too expensive a place to live in. And and Bob, I am not attributing this to something that you, but this is clearly what's happening. This is East Germany. This is, let's tell on our neighbors. And it's shameful, and it's inappropriate, and it's not the way the United States is supposed to work. Unfortunately, it is the way the Commonwealth of Massachusetts works. I hope you do file a complaint.
Yeah.
Because this is disgusting.
That's why I wanted his name, Doctor. I would ask for his name. Can you give the board his name?
No.
Based on this information?
No.
No.
That's.
Yeah, I mean, it's just further a cover-up.
You have the way that you do it, but this is shameful.
And I don't represent the other people, but anybody else who this individual went into a store, if you've had other complaints, how can you believe them?
Well, if this is an individual who also commonly works for you, he certainly does not look to be under 21.
No, he's not, and it wasn't an underage, like I said, he's 32.
I
and
understand in
he
this
doesn't
instance
regularly
it
work
wasn't an
for me.
underage, but if he also is one of the people who has been harassing other business people and saying that they are not in
No, that's not the case.
In
This was-
line with what the Stasi has put together.
Yeah, absolutely not the case here, and this was just arranged in response to myriad complaints about this exact action that I described earlier of happening. So,
May I address that? You hit it right on the point about neighbors. My client, as indicated, has a cigar license. Nobody else does. He's allowed to do that. So there are some competitors who complain because how can they do it? We can't. Well, we're doing it legal because we have a license. So
You're doing it legally because we've put inappropriate rules in place and gone way too far.
But the bottom line is that these complaints themselves should be suspect because they're coming from competitors who are jealous of for whatever reason. He's doing everything right, and this is horrific.
Can I say the report is
If there are complaints coming, then Bob needs to do his job, and I
Yeah.
don't have an issue.
I was going to
Again, this
say,
is not directed at Bob.
I was going to just say Section 2 is correctly worded. Purchaser was not required to use product prior to leaving establishment. He apparently used his own product.
It's a fraud, Tom. He hid it. Come on, please. You know, I mean, yeah.
saying it's
a fr-
incorrect.
You know, I asked, Bob, I forget your last name. I asked him, are you supposed to try to set, no, absolutely not, no trickery, this, that, and the other thing. This was trickery. This was fraud. This is a government action perpetuating a fraud against a licensed business person doing everything right, having to pay my hourly rate, they came home they were in California for a wedding. Priya has had nerves out of her mind, worried about her family business. These people, like, the stress level that this has caused is horrific. To suggest that, oh, I can sneak in another model, yeah, this is right. This is absolute entrapment. It's wrong. And I think my clients are due an apology. And again, the person who needs to apologize isn't here. It's wrong.
Thank you. I think we have seen enough in terms of the video and so forth. Could I have a motion to dismiss this? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to say, I disagree completely with Dr. Guadagnoli. I think it's a good thing that they have this, because this is an aberrant action that probably never happened again.
Thank you.
But, I mean, it was terrible.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your
I
time.
think you
Can I
need
just make
these
one
laws.
statement? And you have the absolute right to do what you did. I would just like to underscore the fact that the state law prohibits the sale of these products except in smoking bars for on-site consumption only. So this law was violated. Whether you like it or not, or whether this is East Germany or not, that's what the state law states.
The owner had no ability to tell it was violated.
No,
His hands were hidden.
The person did not smoke
Consume
on
product.
site the whole product that he bought. And that's what the law requires. And he didn't do that. And I know, Doctor, you disagree with the law. You've made that clear. But that doesn't mean it's not the law. You disagree with it, but it's still the law. And we're lawyers here, and that's the law.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not even going to comment. Thank you.
Next one is
We know
Vijay
how to read
Patel.
the law.
Vijay Patel, owner, Hyannis Smoke Shop.
He just called me a Nazi. just so
This
you-
law is a bunch
You
of
said
Nazis.
you're a bunch of Nazis.
This guy right here, wasn't you.
276 Farmers Road, Hyannis map, parcel 308-134. Tobacco violation on November 21st, 2023. Second violation in past 3 years. May 11th, 2021 to November 21st, 2023. Bob?
Sorry, I don't think so. We get first violation. We never inform we get the first violation.
What?
Dude,
We never get informed we got first violation.
You were not informed of first violations?
No, not at all. And what was that for, the violation?
Tom, I was trying to look, I saw it on the agenda, and I was trying to find the backup. I have to say, I wasn't able to find the document I wanted to find, so I don't know how it would have been on the agenda, but I was curious whether you had felt that way as well. I don't know. I can't explain it, yeah. We were trying to find, Bob and I were going through it, and
So we don't have a record for the first offense?
we don't have the what?
We don't have the record for the
We
first?
do not have the record on the first one.
Okay.
Bob, did you bring it here?
We do have the record on the second one.
No, it would be a letter on file with the board. So,
Go ahead, Bob.
You know, the date shows up and everything, but.
yeah, I have the date in my database of the
Yeah.
record, you know.
Very
I have
weird.
I have the record in my database, but I don't have a letter that would come from the board to the retailer.
Okay.
So whereas it was a couple of years ago, apparently the board issued a warning at that time.
We never got the warning to.
Well, the warning would be in our files. We would have the warning in our files if it occurred, a copy of it, or a copy of the ticket.
True. Do you recall coming to the board before and us discussing?
No,
No.
this is first time.
Did you send a warning letter to them? Do you have a copy of that?
No, I
No,
don't.
no.
That's what I'm saying.
And
I
do you
couldn't find the backup.
usually-
I see it on the agenda, I see it on.
You
on
normally
different
have
things, but
copies?
I do question it because I cannot, see the backup where it should be.
If that's the
So I
case, do
I
we
think
want
we'll
to
have to go
table it
with
into
this
next
first
month?
warning. First, huh?
Do we want to table this into next month?
So this would be a first violation?
Right.
We could, but then you'd
Well,
have
if
to
you
go
don't have,
down.
it, just
Don't want to
proceed
do
as a
that.
first
We could just do it as
violation. I
a
mean,
first, yeah.
we've had a few things over the years with these guys, but bottom line is, again, based on anecdotal reports from other retailers and their customers, that this establishment was selling flavored products, which they're not legally allowed to do. If you walked in and said the special code words, "Can I see what's in the black suitcase or black briefcase?" In which case they would produce the black briefcase, open it for you, and you could choose whatever you like. These also should be considered illegal products whereby the local distributors are not distributing these to retailers that are not allowed to sell them, so they obviously came from out of state and outside of the purview of the Department of Revenue. And same fellow went in, purchased a package of a vaping device called EB Create Sour Grape after asking for the black briefcase. And, that's the end of the story. He wouldn't have to consume that on site. He wouldn't be allowed to smoke it inside.
Do you see personally black suitcase? I have the flavor in it.
No, but this is, no, but that's what he did. He went in, asked for that, and,
No, because I have a black suitcase for a hookah. So there is a hookah inside for the black suitcase.
but this was a consistent story that we were getting from several people in the community. You go in and ask
I'm
for the
not
black
sure,
briefcase.
I just heard a previous owner thing, and I'm just like kind of not trusting you anymore.
Well, I think that's the wrong way to think, because I don't do anything untoward, ever. So let that be, everybody should know that.
Yeah, I
Okay?
agree.
I will not have my integrity attacked, ever.
No.
It's nice to be called a Nazi, too.
Yeah.
Civil rights violations.
So I did bring the minutes to that meeting where they, where we had them listed, May 25th, 2021, and the minutes just say withdrawn tobacco violations. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any more detail on it, so
What's it say exactly?
just withdrawn.
Withdrawn.
Tobacco
Withdrawn.
violations. Apologize, I don't understand how he wasn't here for that discussion. I vaguely remember a discussion with
So just like we said, this will be the first
Yeah,
offense.
this would be the
yes,
first
it was
offense.
definitely a violation this time.
Right, right. Any comment, Tom?
I suggest a $1,000 fine.
Do we need suspension too?
Not for first.
Yes.
Oh,
No, not for first, for selling flavored
oh,
products.
right, not the flavored
Not
products,
for,
right.
okay, not
Yeah.
for this.
What, comment?
I'm just a little confused. The last one was a flavored vaping that couldn't be done outside of the establishment. This one is flavored vaping that can't be done inside the establishment?
This is a retail tobacco store, not a smoking bar.
Right.
Okay.
So they're not allowed to sell, under the law, they're not allowed to sell any flavored products. And state law also prohibits any smoking of any type in any indoor public place or workplace, except in smoking bars.
Right.
Right.
So that's why you have the difference.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the only allowance to sell flavored is for the indoor smoking establishments?
Yes, the smoking bars.
So this is contraband. I mean, this is,
Yeah,
Yeah, and it came from out of state. It's not,
not, okay.
yeah. Because the local, the licensed Massachusetts tobacco distributors are not, they don't supply these products to folks that are not legally licensed to sell them. So there's there's a black market out there, and people go to other states, purchase the stuff, bring it back, and sell it from the back room or under the counter or what have you to customers that they know. But word soon gets around that this behavior is going on, and so it's our task to follow up on that.
Right. Right.
Now, was this the same person as in the last one who bought it?
Yeah, he just walked in, bought it, and came out.
Same guy.
Same
from
guy?
Same guy, yeah,
With the mohawk.
yeah.
And did you look at it when it came out? Did it look, I mean, it wasn't something he had in his pocket when he
No,
walked in
no,
there?
he empties his pockets beside, yeah, so he just bought it, came out, and handed it to me,
Okay.
yeah.
Could I have a motion to have approved a fine of $1,000?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you. Thanks, Bob. And
And just for the record, I recognize that the two of you are doing your job and doing it the best you can. I'm not accusing you of anything. I am making a more global statement about where we've gone as a Commonwealth.
No, I
I
know.
will say that my brother counsel did call us Nazis on the record. He did. He
Oh, all
walked
right.
right over
Okay.
and said, "You're a bunch of Nazis."
Well,
So,
okay,
you know,
that's, I
causes
thought,
of action.
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's, what you're doing is your job. and
Yeah.
I
Yep.
recognize that.
Well, it's all in the name of just protecting the public health as we're charged to do.
Yes.
All of us,
Right.
Thank you.
okay? Thank you.
Thanks,
The
Bob.
last item, there's a regulation and policy scheduled for January 23rd, a public hearing to review the discuss proposed revision of sections 385-6 and 385-4 and 376-19 revision of the deadline to submit revised plans. So this is just a notification for that. Yeah.
I did send it to the Cape Cod Times, and I haven't heard back yet, because it has to be in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks before we can have a hearing.
Okay, okay. And then we have one set of minutes, November the 28th.
I'd like to move those to the next meeting, yeah.
I'll move to next agenda?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay.
You know, if they're gonna have a policy, temporary holding tanks
I just want to ask you one more thing.
where public sewer will be
it was not
provided
the same
within
person.
2 or 3 years.
No, we're not doing that.
It was not the same person.
We're, next item, sir.
We're on the other item right now, so,
We're still on meeting.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
2 or
Could we
3
have-
years, how's that gonna affect the ones we've told they don't have to do anything? I mean, what's the sense of this? I mean, if they're gonna be told they don't have to do anything, why do you need a policy for temporary holding tanks? Am I missing something?
The chairman asked to keep it on the agenda, but maybe when John Oman returns, we can ask him if we can take it off
When
the
we go to
agenda.
the public hearing on January, we can ask the questions.
Are you talking about the next one, holding tank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the chairman, John Oman, wants it on the agenda.
Yeah.
I don't have any more answers on that.
Right.
So a temporary holding tank would be like a septic tank?
Yes.
Like a tight tank?
Yeah, yeah. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned at 4:25. Stone, we're done.